and good afternoon. This is Christine Dean, your DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who you want to know. And I love everything that has to do with the entrepreneurial space. And when I get a chance to meet and talk to other marketers, I'm like, woohoo, highlights. I love that. And I had an opportunity, as some of you know, I'm involved with the Giver Marketing Network. And there is a ton of wonderful marketers on there. Everybody's got their own little niche and area of specialty. So every time I get to meet somebody and learn something new, I'm like, ooh, I don't happen to offer that. We need to let more people know about that. So when I bumped into Mindy Scarlett, I said, oh, girlfriend, you got to come on and talk to people about what you do. Welcome, Mindy.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, so excited to have you here because this is like a whole space that I'm not really involved in. So I want to hear a lot more about what you're up to at the Scarlett Creative Group.
Well, we're up to a lot of things, but it mostly focuses on helping coaches, consultants, and thought leaders create a best-selling book. So it's all about ghostwriting, publishing, and branding.
Ooh, way fun. Now I'm familiar with the branding side of it, the writing, but I've never done the whole publishing the book thing. Oh my goodness. What a cool topic, right? Who doesn't want to be an author? And that's kind of the thing, right?
It's a little funny because I'll never forget, it's been, I come from a marketing background, so I'm used to presenting myself as a marketer. And then this year I decided to niche down and to just do the lane of helping business owners create books. And so I changed my title to ghostwriter. And I'll never forget this dear little old lady who said, oh, have you been to St. Augustine, which is in Florida, and I live in Florida? And I said, yeah, I've been there. And she says, oh, they have a lot of ghost stories. You should go there to do your research.
Absolutely. You know,
those who don't know, ghostwriting just simply means that I extract the information out of you and then write the book for you.
No. I like the idea. We'll sit around a campfire. We'll get lights, right? Put the flashlight under your chin and get all spooky with it, right? We'll tell ghost stories. That's totally what you do all day, right, Mindy?
Oh, yeah, that would be fun. Well, I might try it one day.
It's been a while since we've done that, but ghostwriting, right? There's a lot of fun to be done with ghostwriting. Wow. How do you even get started with that? I mean, where's your background with this?
Well, I've always written as professionally. I've done everything from edit magazines to write for newspapers. I even ran an online newspaper for 2 years, but I also come from a very strong marketing and branding background. 35 years worth to be precise. And I ran a full service marketing agency for 10 years. And back in 2015 is when I started doing officially the ghostwriting of books as just a way for people to market their business. So then you can give the book away as a lead generator, or you can use it as a stepping stone to create a course, or you can use it as a stepping stone to be seen as a thought leader. You know, there's a lot of ways that a book can be used in the marketing sense, but the unique spin, I guess you could say, that I put on it is that I come at the process from a branding point of view, not from a journalism point of view. Right. So I help the person decide what book should you write to truly shine a light on your brand. And then what usually happens is it shines a light on a very disorganized room. And so I have to help them organize it, dust their brand off, maybe dust their website off, and sort of get everything in order before they then write about it.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Mindy, you got my attention. You are a clarity queen also. So, that's a special niche that we have there, because being able to bring clarity to chaos, right? Like you said, how are you going to decide? Well, if you don't really know what you're about and what your brand is about, how are you going to know what to talk about for your speaking assignments, let alone your books, right? So,
so what that has morphed into, and I've actually got one client, and it looks like I'm about ready to get a second client in this same category, where I'm actually doing a business plan for them before I write their book, as a way for them to get themselves in order and get clarity. And then the cost of doing the business plan, I deduct from the price of the book, because I've already gotten that information. I don't have to charge for getting information twice. And then they get a much more helpful, so they got clarity on their business before they then do the book and then really shine a light on it and invite other people in. is essentially
Yeah,
what is happening.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mindy, I was just thinking about how many times I've gone to work with a business owner and they're not really ready for marketing.
Mm-hmm.
The clarity piece has to come in first. Once you know what you're doing, what your clear areas are and what you want to focus on, right? Until you can understand where your return on investment and where you should be spending your time and effort, right? A lot of times businesses are kind of floating along and they haven't really stopped to look at their numbers and what makes sense in their business, right? Once we get them clear,
Yeah.
now
And there's a lot of different things to get clarity on. I mean, it could be that their visual branding is muddled, or it could be that what they offer is muddled. And I come in with a totally, no preconceived ideas, and I go through their website and I go through their, all the various pieces of collateral that they have. And then I tell them what I see. And I say, listen, this is what your potential clients are saying. And that's how come they're saying potential clients and not real clients.
right? Because it's like, this is what your branding is currently saying. Is that really what you meant to say?
And then I hear a lot of horror stories about people that have come in and sold them a bill of goods and then ridden off into the sunset, leaving them very dissatisfied. And so I always tell my clients, listen, I am not here to sell you a book and run away.
Right.
I am here to work with you for as long as it takes to get you where you need to be. And then I'm also pulling, I call them my tribe. These are other trusted professionals. So if somebody needs a website, I'm not going to build it for them. Am I capable of building it for them? Yes, I am. But I don't want to get distracted because that's not my lane. So I have a young lady who is just amazing at doing clarity of visual branding and creating a website that's really going to convert and really present them as a professional. But they have to have the clarity of message first before they can create any marketing collateral pieces. So that's usually where I start, is having them get that clarity, whether it means me writing a business plan for them, whether it means me just walking through what they currently have and making tweaks, because everybody's at a different place.
Right.
But it's just getting them to a place where they have what they need, that the clarity of communication is there. And then it's like, great, let's go beat the drum and get customers to come to your door because you're ready for open house.
Exactly. And a lot of people aren't ready for open house. Like you said, I have the same issues with my clients where we're ready to roll, but they're not ready to roll. It's kind of like trying to, they want to run ads, right? And you're like, okay, but where are we sending them? Well, to my website. To get lost? Let's not do that, right? So clarity is such a huge part of marketing. And a lot of people don't realize that. They don't realize what their branding is saying about them. And they don't realize what they need to put in place in order to be effective. And like you said, those fly by night, you might get a marketing person says, oh, here, pay me lots of money. And then you're like, well, what did they do? I don't even know what they do, but I paid for it. But what did I get? Right. So clarity just with the whole business and what's going on with marketing. And that's the nice thing about working with a marketer, right? That's really good with clarity because we're going to let you know exactly what we're going to do for you.
Exactly. And I mean, it's the balance. And I mean, there's a reason why I don't play poker. You can tell what I'm thinking by looking at me. So I'm going to say to people, okay, I don't know you very well, and I hope you're not offended, but I'm going to be 100% honest with you of what my thoughts are of first looking at all of your collateral. I'm going to give you my knee-jerk reaction, and it's going to be the same reaction of a Joe Blow coming and looking at your website.
Right.
And I always
think it's really nice that you say, I hope I don't offend you. That's so nice of you, Mindy. You're much nicer than I am. Well, I'm like, nah, this isn't going to work.
and I give them helpful feedback to say, okay, you say that, you present that, this is what they're going to think, but this is what you want them to think. Ergo, we have to change this in order to get the result that you want. And I, there's people out there that have, wonderful messages and wonderful services. But if that clarity of communication is not there, they're not going to get off the starting blocks. And I always said to my people, when design gets in the way of communication, you've got too much design. Communication to be there first and foremost, the clarity of communication, so people can read it, understand it, know what you're about, and then look at the pretty pictures and say, oh yeah, isn't that nice?
Clarity is more important.
In a way, and they can't actually see the message. Well, we have a problem.
Clarity over cuteness every time.
Oh, I like that. Can I steal it?
Absolutely. Please do. Because it's so true, right? I've looked at designs. I'm like, oh, that's really pretty. But what's your message? What are you trying to say? What's the point? I'm lost, right? And they'll be missing something really vital, like an event with no date on it. You're like, no topic, but the picture's gorgeous.
Well, yeah. So it's the clarity of communication. And the other piece of clarity that's so important is, what problem do you solve? Mm-hmm. That's simple.
Yep.
People aren't buying things or services, they're buying solutions.
Absolutely. But you can't just throw a bunch of solutions at them. You got to let them know that you feel their pain, you understand their pain, and you can solve their problem. Because a lot of times people will send you a website and it's just a list of solutions. And they're like, I don't even know how this relates to my problem. So I don't know why I would want your solution. So there's a whole process to it. So if you don't have a marketer, reach out to professionals like us that can help you with your clarity, especially if you want a book. Oh my goodness. So do you have special industries that you like to work in, or you have any little niches on that? Or
no, it's across the board. In terms of, it can be highly technical, it can be highly personal. The only caveat is that it needs to be a book that you want to create to market your business. So I don't do children's books. I don't do memoirs. That type of writing is not in my purvey. It's just strictly from a marketing perspective that you want to create a book that you are then going to utilize as a lead generator, or you're going to utilize it as a stepping stone to creating an online course, or you're going to use it as a stepping stone to then get onto the speaking stage. And the book is the way for you to establish yourself as a thought leader in a particular space. And so one of the things that I do is to, once we get past do you have clarity in your marketing and in your branding? And if the answer is yes, and then we can step into the space of actually writing the book, then I get them to get clarity on, okay, you're creating this tool. How are you going to use it? So we figure that out before we create the tool. Yeah. Because if you're creating a tool that's just going to be a lead generator, you're going to do it one way. If you're going to do it as a precursor to a course, you're going to do it another way. So it depends entirely on the content and the slant and the length and the style of writing. It's all dependent on what the ultimate purpose of that book is going to be. And is it what your goal is, right? Are you planning on doing 2 or 3 more books, or is this just a one of, or, so there's a lot of different contingencies and questions that have to be answered before you jump into it. And then I have 4 basic ways people can get to becoming a best-selling author. The first one is total concierge, where I do everything. I interview them, extract the information, do the research to support what they're contending, write it up. They just have to go in and edit and agree or disagree. And then I have a team that handles the whole publishing process through to making it an Amazon bestselling book. But we also publish on Ingram Sparks, which means that it is then on demand for Barnes & Noble and Books A Million. And, you don't have to get married to Amazon. That's why we publish on Ingram Sparks instead of on the Amazon platform. And then there's the Done With You, which is the private coaching. Then I'm launching a full, the Ultimate Authors Workshop in February, where I'll be coaching groups of people through this process. And then I'm also launching Center of Influence anthologies. So this is where a Center of Influence will have 4 or 5 other people in their arena who have something to say. But if I can handle 6 to 10 authors, then the cost of doing the book is amortized over that many people, but that many people can then turn around and say that they're best-selling authors. So it's a least cost, least time commitment way to get to those bragging rights. Not to say that you just do an anthology and say you're done, but if that's a least cost, least time way of getting to that designation, while you then step up to doing your own book. And that just kind of gives you a little bit more time and a little bit more freedom to develop that, while you have the bragging rights of saying, hey, I'm a best-selling author. I was part of this anthology.
Okay, so this anthology that you're working on, did you say you already had a theme for it?
Yes, the first one is already in process. It's called How to Break the Glass Ceiling and Still Keep It Nice. Female Executives Share Their Wisdom.
Oh,
And,
nice. You have all your speakers. Do you have all your writers for that one?
No, I only have 4 of the 10. So I'm
Okay, so you are looking right now, you are looking for executive women that are fighting against that glass ceiling with words of advice and wisdom that they want to share.
And it can be a former executive. They don't have to currently be an executive. But if they've garnered wisdom by working in a corporation and they feel that they would like to pass it on, like how to fight misogyny, how to be a leader instead of a manager, how to, from an image point of view, what do you present? These are all the different subject areas that could potentially be one of the chapters in this book. The first chapter is going to be done by Erica Dunlap. She is a former Miss America. And her take is going to be how to find the right ladder to climb, how to get into the right corporation to fit you. And then we have another young lady who's writing on business etiquette, in different arenas, both at home and abroad. And then I'm actually going to do a chapter in this book. And it's going to be called How to Know When to Pull the Ripcord. How to know when to get out of corporate and do your own thing. That's going to be chapter 9. And then chapter 10 is going to be written by Dr. Donna Bellinger, and she's an expert in sales. But her title of her chapter is going to be, So You've Left Corporate to Start Your Own Thing. Now what?
Exactly, right? Because jumping from the corporate life to an entrepreneur's life is the harder shift than you might think.
Yes.
What a wonderful anthology that's going to be. I'm looking forward to that. So this whole anthology process, so you come up with the idea, you're gathering the different writers, and then you're going to walk them through the process of writing their chapters, right? Mm-hmm. How long does this process take? Let's say we decide, I want to be part of an anthology. What's this timeline look like for being involved in something like this?
Well, my intent is to have all the seats filled before the end of January and to have all the writing done before the end of February. So this is going to be a very quick turn. You bet. We're not messing around.
It sounds like it. So how fast does this book come out then?
I'm sorry, say that again.
How fast? Before we have...
Then it provided this accelerated timeline. Actually, everybody adheres to it. We would be looking at a launch date of sometime in April.
Wow, that's nice and quick, right? You want something down, dirty, fast. And I'm assuming this group that you're going to do will walk them through the process of how to write their chapter, what kind of information they need to gather. Okay, so what kind of time commitment? Let's get real here. So you've got somebody, they're already busy in their corporate life, and they're like, I want to be involved in this. And they're like, I want a chapter. So they come to you and they say, Mindy, please, I want to be the chapter. This is kind of what I'm thinking about, or I'm not even sure exactly what I'm thinking about. You can help flesh that out for them?
Oh, absolutely. I'll have a conversation with them. They'll go away and write a rough draft and send it to me. And then I'll work with them to edit it, add to it, So, they'll get full writing support.
All right. How long is this chapter? What's the time commitment we're looking at?
Well, we're only looking at maybe 3,500 to 4,500 words max. So we're not talking a huge amount. So this is something you could definitely knock out in a weekend. Especially if, we've had a conversation and I've helped them get clarity and said, yep, you need to start here and then move to here and then end up here. And then once they've done the rough draft, I then have another conversation with them to get an idea of, and I ask questions and push back, and then I do a rewrite based with all the additional information. And then they have a final chance to then go through and make any final edits. So no, they get full creative support with doing it.
So you'll help them through the whole editing process. Now, as a former teacher, I gotta say, editing was not my favorite thing to do. So major hat off and kudos to you, girl, because
that's superpowers.
Been there, done that, wouldn't want to do it again. So I'm so glad there's people out there that will help with the editing on that. Because when I have to edit something, I'm like, okay. So you're going to help them through the whole process of it. They could write it over a weekend. Now, we talked about the idea of there being a goal behind the book, right? How are you going to use this book? So this book is going to be written by women in corporate, giving advice to other women in corporate, it sounds like, right?
Correct.
Okay, so how could they use this? If they were going to be an author in this book, how would you encourage people to possibly use this?
Well, it depends on where they're at. If they're still in corporate, then they can just simply add it to their resume. And then if they're looking for another job, the fact that they're a best-selling author definitely makes them stand out from the crowd. They could utilize it within their own organization if they're wanting to climb the ranks, just to show that they're, reaching out and doing more than just what's the minimum that's required. If they've already stepped out into their own business, then they can obviously then use it as a lead generator. They could use it as a stepping stone to get speaking engagements. So there's a lot. It depends on where they're at,
Right.
how they would utilize it.
I love that, right? But there's so much flexibility, right? And so if you're thinking about if they wanted to step into some more of consulting, right, on the side, in addition to what they're currently doing, like you said, speaking on, there's a lot of opportunity there. I love this.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's a great credibility builder, and that's the reason for doing it. But it's not magic. It's just creating a tool. You have to figure out how to use the tool.
It sounds like magic to me, Mindy.
But if you leave the magic wand in the box, it doesn't perform. You got to take it out of the box and wave it around for the magic wand to work.
Absolutely. Well, so right now you said you have 4 and you want 10. So you're looking for 6 more women that have been in the corporate space, either currently or in the past, and are interested in doing a 3,500 words for a chapter and have some creative guidance.
Correct.
And if they wanted to outsource that to you and have you do the whole interview process and write the chapter for them, that would be an option also?
Correct.
Wow. So this is sounding pretty nice.
And I can send you a link. So if anybody requests it, it's the whole information page. And then there's an application attached to it, so that they can, send over to me their thoughts and ideas, because I'm not taking everybody who puts their hand up and puts out their checkbook. They've got to have a message that's going to resonate and going to fit with all the other messages in the book. So there's an application process to make sure that, everything fits.
And if anybody wants that, we're scrolling, for those that are listening and not seeing it, we're scrolling Mindy's contact information across the screen. And if you want to reach out to Mindy at the scarlettcreativegroup.com, Scarlett with 2 T's, Mindy, M-I-N-D-Y. And that's a great way to get a hold of her to find out more about this, because this is just one of the anthologies that you're working on. I'm assuming you have more in the works that you plan on doing in the future, right?
Mm-hmm. These will be more what I call center of influence anthologies. And this is where one person can come to me and say, hey, I want to do an anthology on X. And then it's up to them to fill the seats. So from a business perspective, they'll either get their seat for free, or they can then decide to mark it up and make something on it themselves. So I just tell them the number that I need to do the anthology. And then it's up to them to decide. So if they only do, themselves and 5 other people, then they might do it just to get their seat for free. But they may decide to have it themselves and 9 other people. And then they would be able to actually make a little bit of a profit on it. So that would be entirely up to them.
Well, so Mindy, let's walk through, if somebody was going to get involved in that, can you give us maybe some ideas on how that might work? Let's say, you said center of influence. So for us, marketing. Okay, so if we were going to do a marketing book, right, and one of us was going to focus on clarity and somebody else wanted to focus on design, someone else wants to focus on websites, right, and we were going to talk about doing for small business, or for if you're an author.
Talks on social media. And then that way we would collectively put all of the chapters together so that it would logically walk someone through setting up marketing for their business.
Yeah, so you do small business, or you could say marketing for coaches, right? And this is all that, and it's advice from all these experts in all these different areas, and niche it in really tight, right? So you could do that for lots of different industries, I would think. They don't have to be marketers, right? They could have something else inspiring to say, whether...
With another young lady who is in the mental health field, and she is starting a new company with a partner called The Gray Wall. And it's all about... making it okay for men to decide that they need mental help, because they tend to be so macho and they got to solve it themselves. And, coming up with courses and outreach to say it's okay to say that you need help. That's the first step. So I'm starting conversations with her about being a center of influence I actually have to give her credit for giving me the idea, because in the first conversation with her, she was saying how she needed to do a book. Her partner needed to do a book, and there was 3 other people in her realm that needed to do a book. And I'm sitting there thinking, boy, if they're all just starting out, they all can't afford to do a book individually. What if I offered them an opportunity to do a collective book? An anthology, where then all 5 of them get the bragging rights of saying they're a best-selling author, but they just wrote a chapter, not an entire book.
Right.
So it's just a much easier first step into the world of writing to support your business that doesn't cost so much time and money as if you were doing just one yourself.
No, I love it. Right. It makes it much more affordable for those that are starting out, but are still looking to get their name out there, some branding out there, something for lead gen, right? Something to help boost their credibility. What a wonderful project that you're involved in. I love this, Mindy. I love the focus of your business. I like how you've niched it down and you know exactly what you're doing. You've got the processes to put in place and really help these aspiring authors.
Yep, that's the plan, is to get their message out there.
I love it. So how did you end up in this whole marketing space to start with?
Oh, that's another story. The quick version is I grew up on a construction site. My dad thought that girls needed to learn how to work. My husband nearly fell over laughing, saying I'm the only woman that moved into his apartment with a full set of power tools. So I was originally headed to becoming an architect, and hit the math at college level and fell flat. And I'm like, I can't fight this for the next 4 years, because essentially if you're an architect, you're essentially an engineer. And I just like, And I had started a part-time job on campus, being the PR assistant for the lifelong learning division of the university. And suddenly I was designing posters and writing radio spots and doing press releases. And it was like, wow, this is fun. And so I switched to marketing as my major. And so that's been part of my life ever since. I've worked for huge ad agencies. I have been the editor of a magazine. I have written for regional newspapers. Like I said, ran my own marketing firm, ran an online newspaper for 2 years. So I've been, and then I ran my own company for a while. I actually put in one of the first desktop publishing systems in Australia back in 1985. So involved in graphic design and definitely involved in branding, all aspects of branding. So yeah, basically turned into a bit of a Renaissance woman. And at this point in my life, it's like, I just really wanted to focus. I like the synergy of having that kind of one-on-one relationship with someone, and to really dig deep and to really know that when I get finished with them, they're much better off than when I found them.
Oh, absolutely, Mindy. You're speaking to the heart of a lot of marketers, right? We want to take somebody and then help make their dreams come true. That's what it's all about. I love it. So if you want to find out more about Mindy, if you want to find out more about getting involved with her ghostwriting and maybe doing a book of your own, if that's something that interests you, be sure to reach out to Mindy. Mindy's email is scrolling across the screen. And once again, Mindy at thescarlettcreativegroup.com. Anything else you want to share with us today, Mindy?
No, I think that's the whole chapter and verse at this point in time. So
I know anybody listening is going, ooh, what do I want to write about? I know I want to do, right? So expect to hear from people. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being here today, Mindy. Totally appreciate you talking about an area of expertise that's not my area. So, hey, this is fantastic. I love teamwork like this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
We'll see you next time. I'm sure we'll have you back when you have your books ready to show us and talk about.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Thanks, Mindy. So once again, this is Christine Dean, your DFW Networking Diva, connecting you to who you want to know. So if this is an entrepreneurial thing and you are interested in entrepreneurial stuff, let's talk. If you want to be on my show, reach out, let me know. You can message me at diva@dfwnetworkingdiva.com. And I would love to talk to you more about your business, and come on and let's get you some publicity. Have a fantastic day.